My neighbor Gary called me on a Tuesday morning in March and told me he had just moved into a new home over the weekend. I assumed he meant he had finally closed on that townhouse he had been looking at for 6 months. I asked him how the move went. He said it took about 45 minutes. Gary is 68 years old. He spent 31 years paying a mortgage on a 3-bedroom house in Ohio that he no longer needed after his kids left. When his wife passed 2 years ago, the house stopped feeling like a home and started feeling like a maintenance bill with rooms he never entered, property taxes, a furnace that needed replacing, gutters that filled up every fall, a yard he simply could not keep up with anymore. He sold the house, paid off everything he owed, had money left over, and then he called me about Chinese prefab tiny homes. I had been researching this market for 8 months at that point. I had spoken directly to suppliers, read buyer reviews from people in 14 different states, and watched the American housing conversation completely ignore what was happening on the other side of the world. While everyone in this country was arguing about housing affordability and whether seniors could actually retire without going broke, Chinese manufacturers have been quietly engineering some of the most thoughtful, practical, and genuinely affordable small homes on the planet. Some of them are under $4,000. One of them comes pre-wired and pre-plumbed right out of the factory. And one of them, the 5th one on this list, is designed so specifically around the way active seniors actually want to live that it feels like someone finally sat down and asked the right questions before picking up a single tool. Stay with me until the end, because the 5th home is the one almost nobody in this space is talking about right now, and it might be the most livable option of the entire group. But we are starting at number 1. And number 1 is the home that made Gary call me on a Tuesday morning in March. The first home is a 20-foot expandable container unit, priced at $3,800 from verified Chinese suppliers on platforms like Alibaba. It ships folded completely flat on a standard freight pallet. When it arrives on your property, 2 people can expand it and have it standing and livable in under 1 hour. No crane, no foundation crew waiting around for days. No contractor standing in your driveway for 3 weeks while the clock runs. Inside, you get a bedroom area, a kitchenette, a full bathroom with a shower, and a connected living space. The entire front wall is almost entirely sliding glass, so natural light fills every corner of the interior from the moment the sun comes up. The panels are insulated on all 6 sides, meaning the floor, the ceiling, and every wall, which keeps the interior temperature stable without running heating or air conditioning around the clock. Here is what makes this specific home right for a senior, and not just for anyone looking for cheap square footage. There are no stairs. It is entirely single level. The bedroom is 10 steps from the bathroom at most. The sliding glass doors are wide enough to walk through with a walker or move through in a wheelchair without any complicated maneuvering required. The entry step is shallow, and because the floor panel itself is fully insulated, it stays warm underfoot in the morning. That detail matters more than most people expect when joints are stiff and cold floors become something you actively dread every single day. Total cost to get this home delivered to a property in the continental United States typically runs between $6,000 and $9,000, depending on your location and which shipping port it routes through. That is still less than 4 months of average rent in most American cities right now. Think about that number carefully. A man named Dennis in Tennessee bought one of these units last year. He is 64 years old. He placed it on a concrete pad behind his son's property, hooked it to existing electrical and water lines in a single afternoon with one contractor, and has been living in it independently ever since. He told me that the first morning he woke up inside it, he sat at the small kitchen table with his coffee and realized he had not paid rent or a mortgage payment in 3 months. And he never would again. That is the number worth sitting with. But hold on, because the second home on this list solves a specific problem the first one cannot, and it does it at a price that still surprises most people first time they hear it. The second home is the 40-foot 2-bedroom expandable unit, priced between $7,500 and $12,000 delivered to your property. When this unit is fully expanded on both sides, you are looking at close to 600 square feet of living space. That is larger than a significant number of apartments currently available for rent in major American cities, and you own it completely with no monthly payment attached to it whatsoever. 2 bedrooms, A real kitchen with actual counter space and cabinet storage. Not a single shelf above a hot plate. A full bathroom. A proper living room. A laundry nook built into some configurations. The unit arrives pre-wired for electrical connections and pre-plumbed for water and drainage hookups. A licensed electrician and plumber can complete the entire connection process in a single working day. The walls on this unit are constructed with dense foam sandwiched tightly between galvanized steel panels on both sides. In summer, the interior stays noticeably cooler without running the air conditioning constantly. In winter, it holds heat without burning through your monthly budget. On a fixed retirement income, utility costs are not a minor line item. They are often the real difference between comfortable living and quiet financial stress. This home addresses that problem directly in the way it is engineered, not as an afterthought you handle later. For a senior who has family visiting regularly, the second bedroom changes the entire character of how the home functions. A grandchild can visit and stay comfortably. A caregiver can be on site without disrupting the primary living space. The home can flex as life changes instead of forcing life to fit inside a rigid box. Now here's the question I get asked every single time this topic comes up. Are these homes actually safe? Are they built to last, or are they going to fall apart in 5 years? The answer matters enormously, so I'm going to give it to you directly and completely. The manufacturers producing these homes at scale are not small backyard operations. They are large industrial factories producing thousands of units annually for buyers across Europe, Australia, the Middle East, and increasingly North America. Many of them carry international quality certifications and regularly export to countries with stricter building codes than most American states currently enforce. The galvanized steel frame does not rot. It does not attract termites. It does not warp from moisture the way wood framing does over time. The average rated structural lifespan on these units is 20 to 25 years with only basic maintenance. For a man buying at 65, that is potentially the last home he will ever need to purchase. Consider this. The average American spends between $300,000 and $400,000 on a conventional home. Add maintenance, property taxes, insurance, and upkeep across 20 years, and the true total cost often climbs well past $500,000. All 5 homes on today's list purchased together as a complete set would still cost less than 1 full year rent on a 2-bedroom apartment in most major American cities right now. But I have not shown you the most interesting option yet, because number 3 is specifically for the senior who has figured out that the real ongoing cost of housing is not the purchase price at all. It is what you pay every single month just to keep the lights on and the heat running. The third home is a solar-ready flat pack unit, priced between $4,500 and $8,000. This one ships in flat panels that bolt together on site rather than arriving pre-assembled. The roof is angled at the precise pitch recommended for solar panel installation across most of the United States. The wall panels come directly from the factory with electrical conduit runs already integrated into them during manufacturing. You are not retrofitting solar technology onto a home that was built for something else. The home was designed for solar from the very beginning of its engineering. Add a basic residential solar kit, which currently runs between $2,000 and $4,000 depending on capacity, and your home generates its own electricity from the day you power it on for the first time. Here is why that matters specifically for seniors. The average senior household in America currently spends over $2,000 every single year on electricity alone. A properly sized solar setup pays for itself completely within 3 to 5 years. After that point, it generates free electricity every single day for the next 15 to 20 years. On a retirement income, that is a permanent and compounding reduction in monthly expenses that changes the arithmetic of daily life. This model is also genuinely modular in a way most buyers do not initially appreciate. You can bolt additional sections directly onto the sides of the main structure as your needs evolve over the years. Buy the core unit this year. Add a guest room 2 years from now when the grandchildren start visiting regularly. Add a covered outdoor section the following year. This home grows with you instead of forcing you to predict everything you might ever need before you even move in. A man named Robert in Arizona purchased this unit 18 months ago. He is 71. He added a solar kit for $3,200 at the time of purchase. His average monthly electricity cost since moving in has been $11. He said that number with a kind of quiet satisfaction that I have only heard from people who genuinely feel free from something that used to cost them without stopping. The fourth home is the one that surprises people most, because when they see photographs of it, they simply refuse to believe what it actually costs. The luxury villa-style prefab is priced between $15,000 and $25,000 delivered, high ceilings reaching up to 10 feet on some configurations. A wood-look exterior cladding that photographs so convincingly that most people assume they're looking at a conventional custom-built home. Double-pane windows throughout every room. A full kitchen with real cabinet space, a proper pantry area, and enough counter room to prepare an actual meal comfortably rather than working in a space designed for warming leftovers. The bathroom includes a walk-in shower with no tub lip to step over. That specific detail is not a minor convenience. Falls in the bathroom are among the leading causes of serious injury for seniors over 65, and a bathtub lip is one of the most consistent contributing factors in those incidents. This home removes that hazard entirely by design, not as a modification you pay extra for after the fact. The master bedroom comfortably fits a king-size bed with natural walking room on all sides. The living room has sufficient floor space for a full sofa arrangement, a proper television setup, and a dining table with 4 chairs without the room feeling crowded. The insulation is noticeably thicker on this model than on the lower-cost options. The exterior doors close with a kind of solid, sealed feeling that signals genuine build quality rather than something assembled from the cheapest available parts. At $25,000 fully delivered, this home costs less than 10% of what a conventional American house costs to purchase at current market prices. A man named William in North Carolina purchased one at $22,000 total, including delivery and site preparation last spring. He is 67 years old. He placed it on a small parcel of rural land he had owned outright for years but never used. He said it was the first time in his adult life that he owned something that felt genuinely worth owning and cost him nothing more to live in each month beyond basic utilities. And now we have arrived at the fifth home, the one I told you at the start to stay for. And I want to be specific about why this one matters in ways that go beyond the price. The fifth home is the expandable studio with a built-in covered porch, priced between $5,000 and $9,000. The porch is not a bolt-on accessory. It is not a kit you order separately and figure out how to attach after the main structure is set up. It is engineered directly into the original structure from the factory, full length across the entire front of the home, covered with a proper roof section, railed, with a step-down entry and enough genuine space for 2 comfortable chairs, a small outdoor table, and room to exist outside without feeling like you're standing in a hallway. The steel frame on this model is rated for sustained wind loads up to 100 miles per hour in standard factory configuration. That makes it viable for coastal properties, open agricultural land, the American Southeast, the Gulf Coast, and anywhere else where serious weather is a regular occurrence rather than a rare inconvenience. Here is the deeper reason why this porch changes the character of the entire home in a way that matters for seniors specifically. The research on senior health has been replicated across many independent studies over many years, and it consistently shows the same results. Men who spend regular time outdoors have meaningfully lower rates of clinical depression, stronger cardiovascular health, better immune function, and significantly slower rates of cognitive decline compared to those who remain primarily indoors. These are not marginal differences. They are substantial and consistent across age groups and demographics. Most tiny homes treat outdoor access as something you solve yourself after moving in. You buy a folding chair. You find a patch of gravel. You make do. This home treats outdoor living as a core design priority from the moment it is engineered. The sliding glass door on this model opens completely flat, so the porch and the interior become one connected living space on pleasant weather days. A man sitting in his living room can feel the morning air without standing up. He can hear what is outside. He can watch the light change across the property over the course of a morning without going anywhere at all. A man named James in Georgia purchased this unit 8 months ago. He is 69 years old. He told me he drinks his coffee on the porch every single morning without exception, regardless of the season. He said that in the 2 years of apartment living that came before this home, he had gone outside before noon perhaps a dozen times total. Now, he does it every single day without thinking about it as a decision. Here is exactly what you do next if any of these 5 homes have made you think seriously about this path. First, check your local zoning regulations before spending a single dollar on anything. In many counties across the United States, these structures currently qualify as accessory dwelling units, which have become significantly easier to permit in recent years as multiple states have updated their housing laws specifically to address the ongoing affordability problem. Some counties still maintain minimum square footage requirements that can create complications for smaller models. Know precisely what your jurisdiction allows before you fall in love with a specific option. Second, search Alibaba using the search term Expandable Container Home and filter strictly for verified trade accounts with multiple years of established history on the platform, along with buyer reviews that include real photographs from actual purchasers. Never buy from any account with 0 review history, regardless of how attractive the listing price appears. Third, get a shipping quote before you commit to purchasing anything. Shipping cost is consistently the single largest variable in the total price of ownership. A unit listed at $4,000 from the manufacturer can cost anywhere from $2,500 to $6,000 to ship to your location, depending on your state and which port handles the freight routing. Lock this number down before you make any commitments. Fourth, set aside a budget specifically for site preparation. Every one of these homes requires a level, stable surface underneath it. Poured concrete slab, concrete pier footings, or well-compacted crushed gravel are the 3 most common solutions. Plan to spend between $1,000 and $5,000 on this step, depending on your land, your terrain, and what local labor costs in your area. Buyers who plan carefully and account for all of these steps are regularly fully moved in and living comfortably for under $20,000 total, covering the home itself, international shipping, foundation preparation, and all utility connection costs combined. The American housing market has made it genuinely difficult for seniors to find affordable, dignified, independent living without taking on debt that cannot reasonably be serviced on a retirement income. These 5 Chinese prefab homes are not the right answer for every situation and every person. But for the senior who has access to land, who has a son or a brother with property, or who simply wants to own something outright and permanently stop paying rent to someone else every 30 days, they represent something that is rare in this market right now. A real option, a practical one that costs what it costs and delivers what it promises, and one that far more people deserve to know about than currently do. If this video gave you something genuinely worth thinking about, subscribe to this channel right now. Every single week we cover housing options, retirement strategies, and practical decisions at the main.